production of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
The Rays and Red Sox reenacted the Boston Marathon yesterday, playing the longest 9-inning game in franchise history, with Tampa Bay prevailing 11-2. Tonight, the Rays roadshow travels to Cleveland, where a marquee pitching matchup awaits as Chris Archer faces hard-throwing Indians right-hander Carlos Carrasco. We greet you from the southern shore of Lake Erie, Cleveland, Ohio. Tonight, the Rays open a 3-game series against the Cleveland Indians. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. We'll hear from Alex Cordry a bit later. Well, after playing that long game in Boston, the Rays come away with a series victory. And tonight, a great pitching matchup here, headlined by Chris Archer against the Indians.
Power righties, and they don't get much better than this one here tonight. Chris Archer, look what he's done. His last 3 starts have absolutely been lights out, and he has saved the best for the most recent. That was against the Royals, and he really put the team on his back, and they rode him to victory in this game. 8 shutout innings, didn't walk anybody, 11 punch-outs. And for Chris, it has been overpowering stuff. Fastball and slider, attack zone, put guys away. That's really been the key for Chris Archer. Carlos Carrasco, same thing. 2 earned or fewer in 6 of his 7 starts. And look what he did against the Blue Jays, a team that the Rays are familiar with. North of the border, 7 shutout innings. He didn't walk anybody, 7 strikeouts. A little bit different style. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. Does a great job of mixing his pitches, and the Rays have seen him very good too.
Well, there's the pitching matchup. Chris Archer against Carlos Carrasco. And after a slow start on the road, the Rays have won 6 of 10 on the road now. And tonight, they go up against the Cleveland Indians, coming off that long affair in Boston. They can now say they actually have won the Boston Marathon. Alex will have more on that when we come back.
of a 3-game series, and the Rays are looking to ride the momentum of taking the series in Boston and coming off of Sunday's 11-2 win. But that 7-run 9th inning was their longest and highest scoring inning since October 4th, 2015. But that's not the only thing going down in the history books. It's now time for our Toyota Inside Look. Sunday's game lasted 4 hours and 32 minutes, a new club record for a 9-inning game. It's tied for the 3rd longest 9-inning game in Major League history. If the Rays are going to play 272 minutes, the skipper says it's nice the team got the W.
I didn't know that, but I'm excited. It's much better than losing the longest game in club history. Really good series win. Obviously, you know, some unique circumstances out there. Both teams played in it. Was not easy. I mean, the guys were, there was a lot of mist, a lot of wind. Just kind of annoying, I think, more than anything, but it's good, nice to come out of a win.
The Rays enter this 3-game series with a 5-game losing streak versus the Tribe and have dropped 10 of the last 11. Righty Chris Archer will look to remedy that tonight as he takes the hill. Find out what happens next on Fox Sports Sun.
Rays have had a difficult time in recent seasons against this Cleveland Indian ball club, and tonight at Progressive Field they meet the Indians for the first time this year, opening this 3-game series. Let's take a look at the starting lineups presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Corey Dickerson will be the leadoff man for the Rays as the designated hitter. Miller will hit second in front of Longoria. Morrison will be the cleanup hitter at first. Steven Souza Jr. in right. Colby Rasmus in left will hit sixth. It will be Beckham, Kiermaier, and Norris in the 7, 8, and 9 spots.
And for Carlos Carrasco, look at the season numbers. Absolutely dominant. The record 4-2, but the ERA 186. He's given up only 29 hits in 48 and a third innings. That equates to a 177 opponent average. Good enough for third in the American League.
two teams who have put together good pitching staffs in recent years, and interesting this year, at least at the start, the Rays rotation best in baseball and ERA in the American League. The Indians have struggled, but their bullpen has been the best, and the Rays bullpen conversely has struggled at times. So here we go, Rays and the Indians, with Corey Dickerson going after the first pitch. A fastball from Carlos Carrasco is fouled away.
Well, as we said in the open, Carlos Carrasco is going to attack these Rays hitters. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. He does a really good job of mixing and matching those pitches. Doesn't get caught up in any one pattern. And with his stuff, the life on his pitches, that's what makes him so difficult.
And the pitch is down, 1-1. Dickerson, Miller, and Longoria against Carrasco. The tapper foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. But Dickerson has been tough in almost every count in his at-bats this year. A great start. Tied for the league lead in total hits with 49. 4th in the league in hitting at 340.
I don't know the last time I saw a hitter with such a solid approach from pitch 1 all the way through an at bat from the beginning of the season till now. You know, you're going on a month and a half.
And there's a foul ball. This is something he can do to extend at bats, borderline pitches. He's figured out a defense for them.
Sometimes he'll spread out. He's got a very quick bat. You know, his willingness to use the whole field, and that's what does it, Dwayne, because you can lengthen that swing and shoot the ball to left field. But then we've seen him be quick enough to get the balls that are in and in off the plate, which is what they're going to do here.
And a swing and a miss, ball popping away from Gomes. Dickerson hustling his way down to first, and he is safely aboard. So a strikeout and a wild pitch, and the Rays get a base runner to start this game.
Well, against Carlos Carrasco, you'll take base runners no matter how you get them. There's a nasty breaking ball down into the dirt, down and in, and Yan Gomes just cannot find it in time. Corey Dickerson hustling down to first. A little unorthodox way to get a base runner, but you'll take it.
3rd wild pitch of the year charged to Carrasco. Here's Brad Miller. Pitch is too low. Miller drew a walk his first time up yesterday and scored a run. And he's been on base a lot via the base on balls. 2-0.
And he is really taking Mother's Day weekend very seriously, Dwayne.
It's nice if you can extend the weekend through Monday. You should do that. And he is absolutely doing that here with the Mother's Day pink bat.
And he obviously likes the way that bat feels. See how long he stays with it.
Well, he's up in the count. 3-0. He's facing one of the best in Carlos Carrasco tonight. And a 4-pitch walk. He's walked only 8 in just under 50 innings all year. And now a walk to Miller.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic. Let's take a look at that Indians defense. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, we have Michael Brantley, Lonnie Chisenhall, and Abraham Almonte. Across the infield, 3rd to 1st, Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, Jason Kipnis, and Carlos Santana, with Yan Gomes back behind the plate.
Now Evan Longoria. And there's a fastball wide. So another miss, a 4-pitch walk to Miller, and that first pitch to Longoria plenty wide. Gomes out to visit his right-hander.
You know, like you said, Dwayne, 8 walks and 48 and a third coming in. So not something that Carlos Carrasco is used to doing. I mean, in fact, he doesn't give many base runners, period. 8 walks, only the 29 hits given up in 48 and a third. His whip is .77. That is tied for first in Major League Baseball. Limit base runners, limit opportunities, but the Rays have a couple here.
That's going to be a strike. Gary Cederstrom calling the balls and strikes tonight. He is the crew chief of this umpiring grouping. Tapper foul down beyond Charlie Montoyo. Still 1-2. Well, there's the breakout on his fast start this year, 4th in ERA, and right on down, as you mentioned, the whip, the very best. Great strikeout to walk ratio. Ground ball, third. Step on the bag by Ramirez. Throw to first. They're going to get a double play. Miller moves into second base. Fortunately for the Rays, the ball not hit hard enough. Ramirez might have attempted a triple play right there, but instead touched the bag for the force and made the throw to first.
Well, the ground ball takes him right to the bag, and it was another off-speed pitch. After missing with all the fastballs, Carrasco comes back with off-speed, gets the slow roller to third, and Ramirez makes a nice play. That's exactly what Carrasco needed. First and second, nobody out, and having trouble finding the strike zone.
Well, his ground ball rate has been impressive his entire career. And that's something that can get a pitcher out of trouble in a hurry. Eases this situation, although the Rays still have a man in scoring position now with 2 outs, and Logan Morrison shoots it toward the corner and right. Rays are going to pick up that run. Morrison will dig for second, and he is in there with the double, and the Rays lead 1-0. Morrison picking up the Rays here with a big 2-out hit, driving in his 25th run.
You know, it's really getting to be something else to watch this team and the work that they do early in games. I mean, they lead Major League Baseball runs in the first inning. It's not even close, and they do it once again. Just when it looked like Carrasco may wiggle out of that little jam that he put himself in, Logan Morrison takes a first pitch fastball to the wall and right, and there is run number 1.
So Morrison now in scoring position for Steven Souza Jr. And strike 1. Souza 1 of 6 in his career against Carrasco, and a little over 350 this year with men in scoring position. He's got a guy out there at second base right now. Boy, Morrison took a big lead off second base, and Kipnis, the second baseman, went over there to try to shorten that up. Into the dirt, blocked by Gomes.
Very well, too, because that was a tough pitch. Carrasco really yanked a slider there down into the dirt, and Yan Gomes didn't have time to make much of a decision, and he got that glove out there, able to kind of palm it, drop it down in front.
And the fastball by him makes it 1-2.
I'll tell you, Carlos Carrasco's mechanics, and he does his work right here out of the stretch, but his mechanics are so, I mean, they're flawless. You know, he comes set, stays nice and tall over the rubber. He's got the, you know, the leg kick, drives down towards home plate, gets good reach.
And he strikes out Souza. Rays settle for a run on the hit by Morrison, driving in Miller, and they take a 1-0 advantage into the bottom of the first. We go to the Cleveland half of the inning. Lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Jason Kipnis leads off for Cleveland, then Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, Carlos Santana at first hitting cleanup in front of the designated hitter Edwin Encarnacion. Jose Ramirez hit 6th, Lonnie Chisenhall 7th, Yan Gomes 8th, and Abraham Almonte, the right fielder, bats 9th.
And Chris Archer, quite simply, coming off the most dominant start of his season thus far. Against the Kansas City Royals at Tropicana Field, 8 shutout innings, no walks, 11 strikeouts. Doesn't get much better than that. And he will look to go out and defeat the Cleveland Indians, the only team that he has left to beat in the American League. He is 0-5 against this team in 5 starts.
They were the team to draft him in the 5th round of the 2006 June draft. So still looking to notch a win over this club. Here's Jason Kipnis. First pitch is upstairs. Kipnis had been struggling at the plate, and Terry Francona moved him up into the leadoff spot, and he responded immediately, going 4 for 5 yesterday with 2 home runs and 4 runs batted in. 1-1.
A rare offensive explosion for this team. Has struggled to score runs, especially here recently, but came out and scored 8 in the first 3 innings yesterday. Took control of that game and won the finale against the Twins, who had defeated them Friday and Saturday.
Pitch upstairs. Now 2-1. Yeah, starting the day, the Twins holding on to first in the Central with a game lead on Cleveland. Rays starting the day in 4th, 5.5 back of New York in the East. This is down 3-1. Indians right now as a team hitting .241, and they're 10th in the league in runs scored. The Rays are 4th in the league in runs scored. Count goes to 3-2.
Yeah, and I think the feeling too with this Cleveland team is that the offense was going to be better, and they still feel like it will be better when it's all said and done. Edwin Encarnacion off to a slow start. Jason Kipnis off to a slow start outside of really that game yesterday.
Lindor on deck. And ball 4. Kipnis draws a walk. So with a lead, Archer goes out and gives up a pass to the first man he faces.
Let's take a quick look at that Rays defense, brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In that outfield left to right, we've got Rasmus, Kiermaier, and Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Beckham, Miller, and Morrison with Derek Norris back behind the plate. A strange beginning for both of these pitchers. Carrasco with the strikeout wild pitch, and Chris Archer a leadoff walk. The last thing you want to do, first hitter of the game after having been given a lead.
Lindor, and that pitch way up. 1 ball, no strikes.
That brings back the reminders of the issues of Chris Archer last season.
Sure does.
Trouble with command early in games. A lot of high fastballs up and out of the zone.
A ball, no strikes. Lindor, a bunt. 1 hop back to second goes Longoria. And a nice play right there over to cover Beckham. And Evan made a very nice play on the bunt by Lindor.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, the Rays defense, where they have gotten sloppy here recently, that was lockdown D. Lindor trying to take everybody by surprise, but Evan, not only does he get to it, but he's thinking about second base, and Tim Beckham is there to field that right there, because Brad Miller's got priority to head over towards first base. Tim Beckham's going to go to second, and Longoria is going to hit him, cut down the lead runner. Great job.
There's Michael Brantley back in the number 3 spot this year for the Indians. Pitch is upstairs. Well, the Indians with a great season last year, a trip to the World Series, and for the most part did it without Brantley. And who would have thought that possible?
Well, Dwayne, I looked up some numbers and some interesting facts. That ALCS against the Toronto Blue Jays, they went into that series. They didn't have Michael Brantley, of course. Carlos Carrasco, Danny Salazar were both out, and Trevor Bauer got them exactly, I believe, 2 outs in that entire series. And the team batting average for the Indians in that series was 167. You would say that they obviously got swept. No, they won that series 4-1.
Yep.
Remarkable how they pieced that together. And they're very happy to have this man back in the lineup.
Well, they got exactly 39 at-bats from Brantley last year and went to the World Series. Been pretty much the centerpiece of their offense the last few years.
I'll tell you, this is tough to watch right now for Chris Archer, who is just having trouble finding the strike zone. We've seen the fastballs missing up. That one right there, he spiked trying to make the adjustment. Does not look very comfortable out there at all at this point.
And he misses by a good margin there for ball 4. Well, 2 men on with only 1 out. He had walked only 16 in the 8 prior starts he had made, and now walking 2 of the first 3 hitters.
You know, and they're not close misses. You know, you can see the 1 fastball, the 2-0 fastball was spiked. The 3-0 fastball was head high. I mean, he just right now is having trouble with the release point, and mechanically is just a little bit off right now. And you're hoping that he can lock this in rather quickly. As you see his numbers against the Indians, not very pretty.
Earned run average over 5 against Cleveland. 0-3 in this park. And here's Carlos Santana. And he lets it loose. Strike 1.
I like the pitch selection there. You know, you're struggling with the fastball command. You've got a hitter up there, runner in scoring position, and so you're going to try to take advantage of his aggressiveness, and you go with the first pitch slider. That was a ball, but Santana wanted to drive him in. You get the swing. Maybe that gets you back in sync.
This one bounding out halfway back to the mound, and alertly Lindor moves up to third.
Those are the little things, what makes Francisco Lindor such a special player. I mean, a tremendous shortstop, handles the bat very, very well, but it's the little things like that right there. Read this slider in the dirt, see where it's coming back out, and realize if I get on my horse, I can get over to third base with less than 2.
Now first and third. You see how much he loves that slider with men in scoring position.
League average 27%, and not everybody throws a slider, so you get that, but 64% just about. You can almost start to sit on it.
Liner into center field. That ball cut off by Kiermaier. The run scores. Brantley's going to go to third, and they hold Santana to a base hit.
Dwayne, one of those plays that Kevin Kiermaier is not going to get any credit for outside of his teammates. If that ball gets to the wall, which it should have, every other center fielder, I don't see too many cutting this off. If this gets to the wall, it's Indians are winning 2-1, and Santana is on second base. This is a fastball out over the plate. Santana ropes, and look at Kiermaier get on his horse. Cutting that off keeps the runner at third, and getting it back in quickly keeps Santana at first. What a job by Kiermaier.
And in that position, not only getting it back toward the infield, but within the reach of that case Beckham. And the runners, you're right, now at first and third. It's a tie game. And Edwin Encarnacion is at the plate. Shift on for him. And a ground ball. Beckham to second, one over to first, not in time, and boy, it took a long time to number one start it and try to turn that double play, and the go-ahead run scores.
Oh boy, that Rays are gonna lament that right there, because a great first pitch by Archer. You get the rollover ground ball. This is it. End of the inning. A good bounce for Beckham, but just that little hitch right there. And then even Brad Miller at second base, the footwork was not very good. So you had a little bit slow getting it out of the glove. Brad Miller's footwork at second, a little bit sloppy. And Encarnacion, of all people, beats that out, and the Indians get that second run.
Yeah, that was get out of the inning tied, made to order in a lot of ways. But the Indians grab the lead and continue to hit, and the pitch is a strike. Well, the other night we were talking about how the Rays lead the major leagues in most defensive giveaways. That's an example of it right there. It goes from one great play to keep that double play a possibility by Kiermaier, and then they give it right back on the inability to turn the double play. And so while one metric might say that in runs saved they're the best defense in the league, well, the other one, defensive giveaways, writes a completely different story, and that was an example of it. You turn that double play, you're in hitting right now. Tied. Instead, the Rays are down 2-1. Jose Ramirez, the switch hitting infielder. Now 3 balls and a strike.
These are the first 2 first inning runs that Chris Archer has given up all season. You know, that was something that plagued him a year ago, and has done a great job of limiting that. But you go back to the lack of command. That's what has done this.
And there's ball 4.
And even that right there, Chris is searching like crazy. Jim Hickey coming to the mound now. You could see the body language, Dwayne, after ball 4. That pitch was up and out of the zone, and he just kind of slumped his shoulders, because right now he's just not able to figure it out on his own, and maybe Jim Hickey can give him a little bit of advice and get him back on track. Watch his delivery and watch the body language. Kind of putting that head down. He just can't find it right now.
That puts Cleveland runners at first and second. Brings up Lonnie Chisenhall, the left-handed hitting outfielder. Well, the Rays, as difficult as it is to give up the lead, they would be very happy to get out of the first inning, allowing only 2 runs with what we've seen happen here. Chisenhall takes a pitch down, slider low. Now 2-0. Time the fastball missed. Struggling first inning for Archer. High fly ball back into deep right. Souza will go to the wall. Gone. 3-run home run for Chisenhall. Well, the Indians had been struggling offensively until yesterday, and the Rays giving them a couple of added opportunities in the first tonight pay a dear price. 5-1 Cleveland.
The inability to turn the double play, the walks have really come back to bite this team. Chisenhall sitting heater 2-0, and he gets one middle in just above the knees, and boy, look at that finish. Good uppercut lift swing, and that was a towering shot that he just dropped in the right field stands.
Chisenhall's 4th home run of the year. Now Yan Gomes, and he takes a strike. Fastball. Well, 3 walks, 2 hits, the inability to turn the double play. The Rays made 2 outstanding defensive plays in this inning, and the inability to turn the double play has really cost them.
At this level, the margin for error is very small, and you just never know when it's going to turn. And that's why you have to be locked in for 3 hours every night, or the Rays case 3 hours and 18 minutes every single night, and be ready to go.
Ground ball charged by Beckham, and his throw to first retires Gomes. The Indians have a 5-run first and lead 5-1. by Frontier Communications. Get Fios TV, internet, and voice. By Jeep. Get great deals at the Jeep Spring Clearance event. And by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Colby Rasmus taking the first pitch wide. 1 ball, no strikes. Colby Rasmus leading off the inning for the Rays. Beckham and Kiermaier to follow. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Tough order for the Rays tonight, down early and facing Carlos Carrasco, who was not exactly sharp himself in the first inning against the Rays. So who knows what could happen.
That's right. Absolutely right. And again, falling behind Rasmus here 2-1. You give these hitters, you know, good counts to work with. They can do some things.
3 balls and a strike.
Feeling for the strike zone. Really feeling for the strike zone. He looked better in the first inning, even with the 4-pitch walk, than he does right now. That arm angle, the arm dipped a little bit on that fastball up and away, and he's having a little bit of trouble.
Big cut and a miss. That big uppercut on the fastball by Rasmus. He's been back for 9 games, has 8 runs batted in, 3 for 10 with a home run in his career against Carrasco, and he was gunning for another one on that 3-1 pitch. Look out, that's foul right into the Cleveland dugout.
I mean, look out is right, Dwayne, and those guys have no protection. You're in those seats, the head's above, you know, the little railing there, nothing to protect you and not a whole lot of time to react.
Another 3-2 and a foul tip strikeout right back into the mid of Yan Gomes.
Oh, nice comeback there by Carlos Carrasco. 3 straight 94-mile-an-hour fastballs, saved the best for last right on the corner, and he gets the swing. Ball got there before the little tracer. How quick that pitch was.
Beat the odds there.
Hey, you know how we
tracked it before it was ever made.
That was Enrico Palazzo, Fox Tracks.
It's Tim Beckham. Pitch is a strike. Beckham with 6 home runs.
You know, here's the thing, Dwayne. You know, we talk about Colby Rasmus, Steven Souza Jr. You know, they're going to give you something every night. They're always giving you something. Fox Tracks is getting to be like that. They're going to give you something new almost on a daily basis.
Well, you know, a guy can make a great play in the outfield. That's one thing. But to actually track something before it happens, I mean,
listen, I get it.
That's better than a diving catch.
You can't explain it. You just have to see it and appreciate it.
Truly. This one is down. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kiermaier will be next. The Rays trying to go to work and try to build an inning against Carrasco. It's way wide. 2-2. Carrasco, 30 years old, originally signed by the Philadelphia Phillies out of Venezuela. Tapper fouled. And his story, not unlike a lot of those youngsters who come to this country, spoke very little English. And the story is that he got that first year was in the Gulf Coast League, the Phillies. And he said he ate pizza every day for 90 days in a row because pizza is the only thing he could order.
I read that. I mean, you do what you have to do.
Yeah. So he strikes out Beckham. So 2 up, 2 down, 4 strikeouts for Carrasco already.
Well, how about the changeup there? And Carrasco, not a ton off of the fastball.
Yeah, that's around 90.
Yeah, but you could it's still very, very effective as Tim Beckham out in front.
It's Kevin Kiermaier. It's foul out of play. If you look at his pitches, there's a little separation with the curveball, but as you mentioned earlier, he'll give you the fastball and the changeup, the slider, and a curve, actually.
Yep.
And there's some separation. The shot into right field, pretty well tagged. Almonte will look up, and that one is out of here. Kevin Kiermaier has belted a home run to pick up a run for the Rays, their second. His third homer, and that makes it a 3-run ball game, 5-2.
Well, and Kevin Kiermaier starting to swing the bat well once again. He had gone through that terrible slide of 60-70 at bats, really scuffling at the plate, but the last few has started to lock it in, and he got a mistake fastball and jumped all over it. And the Rays start to try and claw back, and this, Dwayne, this pitching duel, it's measuring up, right?
Yeah. Well, of course, we highlighted it in the open.
It's remarkable how many times you do that.
Norris a base hit into left between short and third. So Derek Norris, the Rays catcher, is aboard.
Just when you think you have this game figured out.
Yeah, that's anybody thinks that's the first mistake they're making. And one of the great things about this game. So the Rays have a 2-out base hit following the home run. And here's Corey Dickerson. He struck out and reached on a wild pitch his first time. For the last 8 games coming into this one, he was hitting over 450, 15 out of 33. He takes a pitch for a ball. Officially 0 for 4 in his matchups against Carrasco. It's in at the knees. 1-1. Kiermaier, who had a couple of hits yesterday in Boston, has homered his first time up tonight. 2 balls and a strike. Well, the Rays offense has shown that it is capable of scoring runs, and so far Carrasco has not found the formula that he usually has out there. Ground ball right side. That's gloved by Kipnis. Throw to first. Got him. Kipnis from short right field making that throw to end the top half of the second. Rays settled for a run on the home run by Kevin Kiermaier through an inning and a half. It's 5-2 Cleveland. Second coming. It's superheroes versus villains. Sunday, May 21st at the Trop. Rays and the Yankees square off, and kids 14 and under receive a Super Rays comic book presented by the Tampa Bay Times while supplies last. Be a part of the action. Visit RaysBaseball.com today. Abraham Almonte leads off the bottom of the second. Archer's pitch is a first pitch strike. Archer, 27 pitch first inning. Into center field. Kiermaier is going to go back to the wall. He'll leap. Cannot come up with it. The ball loose. Almonte around second on his way to third. And a leadoff triple for Almonte in the second for Cleveland. His second triple of the year.
Well, I'll tell you what, that ball was poked pretty good by Abraham Almonte. Deep center field. Kevin Kiermaier is going to give it everything that he can. A hanging slider. And boy, he just all forearms and wrist. Big strength. And Kiermaier jumps and he's just a little bit off. You know, he got up high enough, but that ball looked to be a foot to his right, our left on TV. And got away from him.
Rays bring the infield in. Top of the order, Jason Kipnis. Upstairs with a fastball. It'll be a strike, and it's 1-1.
Let's take a look, Dwayne. He's going to get back on his horse. That would have been an unbelievable catch, but you see that ball just off to the left. He had enough height on the jump, but the ball a little bit wide.
Now 2-1. His slider. Kipnis started the first by drawing a walk. Archer's behind him, 3-1. So Archer in a spot to begin the inning. Francisco Lindor is on deck. There's ball 4. Kipnis draws his second walk of the game. 4 given up by Archer through an inning plus. He'd given up 16 in 8 starts coming into this one.
That's all you need to know that Chris Archer right now mechanically is not right. Trying to make that adjustment from pitch to pitch. You know, at times he's rushing towards home plate, then he tries to stay back a little bit too long and ends up, you know, yanking pitches down in the zone. Doesn't feel comfortable with the fastball command, so now we're seeing a lot of sliders. He hung the one to Almonte for the triple and then started burying them into the dirt or down low to Kipnis. Can't find the middle ground.
Now Lindor. Still nobody out. And the fastball, he gets it by Lindor. Took a big cut. Lindor bunted his first time up there. This one is low as Norris keeps it in front of him. A 1-1 count. Lindor out of the 2011 draft for the Indians, a first-round pick, the 8th overall. Ground ball first. That's a foul ball. Nice play by Morris, and the Rays have the runner caught between third and home, but it's a foul ball called so by Gabe Morales at first.
Well, that was a heady play there by Logan Morrison, and if that ball is fair, or the Rays are sitting pretty, cutting that runner down close enough. Gabe Morales, and it absolutely was foul. It's the right call, but you field that, you step on the bag, and then he's going to immediately go home, and they would have gotten an unorthodox double play right there.
Yeah, they certainly would have taken that with a man at second and 2 outs. Instead, still nobody out with men at first and third, and Lindor, the hitter, with a count of a ball, 2 strikes. And he reaches for this one and is out on strikes.
Oh boy, Chris Archer needed that in a big way. Tough hitter, better pitch, good slider right there. This is the good I'm ahead in the count put away slider. Good depth, and you can see right there Lindor just waving.
One away for Michael Brantley. Brantley, part of the 5-run first with a walk and a run scored. That's a strike. Slider to start him. Cleveland coming in 2 games over 500 at 19-17, running second in the Central, a game behind Minnesota. Larry Francona, 2-time manager of the year in the last 4 seasons. Swing and a miss. The count will go to 0-2.
Maybe that's what you start to do. You start thinking about that changeup, and that was a good one there. Chris Archer, it looks like it's going to be one of those nights where he's going to have to just try to figure out what works, what he feels comfortable with, and you hope at some point it just clicks. It just clicks, and he's back to being the guy who can pound the zone consistently.
Over to first, back in is Kipnis. Brantley back from the shoulder surgery that sidelined him for most of last year. And a long look by Archer, and Brantley steps out.
Yeah, this is the second time that Brantley has stepped out on Chris Archer. He is taking a long time in between pitches here.
Runner breaks off first. The pitch is a ball. The throw will skip behind the bag. Here comes a man to score. So Norris making a play on Kipnis. The ball skipped off the glove of Beckham. The Indians pick up their 6th run of the night.
Well, the Indians are telling the Rays, hey, if you're going to stand around and do nothing, we're going to make something happen. And off goes Kipnis. Derek Norris, a nice job of scooping that ball, but that caused the mechanics to be a little bit off as he delivers that ball out to second base. A little bit late, trying to force that ball behind Beckham off his glove. A wide throw, and the Indians add on to their lead.
So a stolen base and an error charged to Norris on the throw. And now here's one that gets by Norris And over to third goes Kipnis.
And all of this, you know, with less than 2 outs, you get that runner to third. Derek Norris and Chris Archer with the runner at second. I don't know who didn't make the adjustment, but they didn't. And there was a complete cross up there, a slider, and Derek Norris is expecting the fastball right through the 5-hole. Boy, it has been sloppy here early.
Still just 1 out, the infield up.
Need the strikeout here.
And they get it. So bite on that one. And Brantley is out on strikes.
Wasn't, yeah, Dwayne, it wasn't even close. I mean, the pitch and the swing way down and in, and Michael Brantley not recognizing the spin on that one, and that's a big strikeout for Chris.
2 outs in the inning. This inning featuring the leadoff triple. Stolen base, an error, a pass ball. Here's Santana, man at third. Outside.
My son's team right now is playing a cleaner game.
What are they, 9 and 10?
10U.
Yeah, 10U. Okay.
10U. This is what the feel of this game has been. The misplays.
Tapper foul, 1-1. And as we've discussed before, so often some of those go overlooked because they don't go into the scorebook necessarily, as we saw in the first inning. There's the inability to get an out. But boy, do they count, as we have seen here in this game. In fact, no errors in the first inning that you put into the scorebook, but some errors nevertheless. That's a strike around the knees. The count is 1-2. Triple and a walk in this inning. An error, stolen base, pass ball, a run in with a man at third. 2 strikeouts, and now 1-2 the count on Santana. Ground ball right side. Miller from short right makes the play. And the Indians had a run. We are through 2 at 6-2 Cleveland. As we go to the third, AARP getting to know Terry Francona. Francona at the University of Arizona, College World Series champions there, and 2 World Series titles as a manager. As we mentioned before, the last 4 years, 2 of those years, manager of the year. A run with the Phillies and then Boston and now Cleveland. Brad Miller takes the pitch upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. And Francona, as a player and manager, known as one of the good guys of the game, one of the more personable players. Of course, his dad played. He grew up in a major league atmosphere, and so right at home in a big league ballpark.
I don't know if you could say the same, though, as would you be comfortable being a close friend of Terry Francona? Great guy all around, but he is a ruthless friend. And well, he lit our boy up today.
He calls him as he sees him, is what he would tell you.
Well, but he.
Yes.
Look
at that.
This is the scoreboard, and this is greeting the Rays as they're getting ready to take batting practice this afternoon, and courtesy of Terry Francona.
Boy, with friends like that.
It was tough to read all of that.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine if you're Kevin Cash, like, really, all of my guys out here, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Well, he's also very competitive. Line drive for Miller into right for a base hit. The Rays' second baseman leads off the third. Well, Kevin Cash and his best friend Terry Francona. Look at that. He's throwing some BP and putting up with that.
Doesn't look overly thrilled.
He might have been looking for Francona in the dugout. He had plenty of ammo out there throwing BP. A couple of knockdown pitches during BP right into the dugout. There's a base hit to right for Longoria. Up to second base goes Miller, and the Rays come swinging their way back here, putting a couple of men on base in the third.
Well, they've got some ground to make up. This is a great way to do it. Base hit, hard hit balls. Brad Miller shoots one into right field. Evan Longoria able to sneak that by Carlos Santana, and the Rays off and running here in the third. I mean, this has been not the game that we envisioned coming in.
Well, obviously, neither of these pitchers on their game tonight, and you're in a situation where Morrison, with one swing of the bat, the way he's been swinging the bat for power this year, could make the complexion of this game completely different. Pitch is a little wide. 1 ball, no strikes. Two on, a 1-0 count to Logan Morrison. The ground ball to the right side. Santana down to Lindor, back to first, safe there. Morrison beat the return throw to prevent the double play. Miller goes to third.
Well, that was a combination of Carlos Santana a little bit slow getting that ball out to Francisco Lindor, and he had to make a long throw. And that's what gives Logan Morrison a chance. You see, he just could not get a good grip right away, and because the throw was long and that little hesitation, Morrison's able to beat it out.
First and third, here's Steven Souza Jr. Souza struck out his first time. He shortens on the bat, takes the pitch for a ball. Well, these are opportunities for the Rays to truly get back in this game and push Carrasco some more.
Well,
you want to come away with something here.
Yeah, you have to. And I would rather actually see Souza Jr. swing the bat than do the first and third bunt. You got too much ground to make up. You've got a chance to put together, an inning here. Right there. Now you got 2 runners in scoring position, and now he will be swinging the bat for sure.
Morrison moving up on that pitch in the dirt, a wild pitch.
We just don't want to give any unnecessary outs to the opposition when that particular pitcher is scuffling a little bit. Don't give him a thing. Make him earn everything.
Now 3 balls, no strikes. Kobe Rasmus is on deck. He's had a little success against Carrasco. That will take the count to 3-1. The Rays in a situation here where they could cash in, and despite all the bad things that have happened, right now you get a feeling that the Rays are very much in this thing.
No question about it, Dwayne.
Fly ball, not overly deep to center. Chisenhall is there to make the catch. Tag. Miller's going to head to the plate, and he is safe. He got the hand in there. As Morrison advances to third, the Rays pick up their 3rd run. Souza sending it just deep enough to get Miller home. 23rd run batted in for Steven Souza Jr.
Boy, Lonnie Chisenhall making that play a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. In fact, you were wondering, would he throw this to third and try to keep Morrison from moving up? But he comes in, hammering this throw. And boy, nice slide by Brad Miller to sneak that left hand in there. Jan Gomes reaches for the baseball. And right there, Brad Miller reaching for the plate.
And you can see Rasmus directing some traffic to have him slide to the outside. Miller had that in mind anyway, and Rasmus helping out the runner coming in from third. Now Rasmus at the plate. 1-0 the count.
Yeah, that's something too that you don't see enough of. You know, a lot of times those guys that are on deck get caught doing absolutely nothing. You don't have any other job except to help out the base runner.
Ground ball right side, picked up by Santana, unassisted down there. Rays get a run in each of the first 3, but they trail 6-3.
This ball game, and here are some of the miscues right here. An opportunity for a double play ball, a little bit of slow out of the glove, some interesting footwork out there at second base. The Rays don't get it done. He needs to get a run off that. Almonte, that would have been a heck of a play by Kiermaier, but you could see he was off by about a foot from where that ball was. And then right here, the stolen base attempt by Kipnis. He does get in. The throw is wide behind Beckham. That leads to another run. A cross up on the slider that 5 holes Derek Norris. It has been an ugly first couple of innings here for the Rays, but they still find themselves in this game down 6-3.
And the first pitch to Edwin Encarnacion is in there for a strike. It has been a struggle. 2.
Yeah, the one with Kiermaier out in center field, you kind of overlooked that one. He had to go a long way. That would have been a ridiculous highlight reel catch anyway. You just don't often see him get to a spot, make the jump, and be off that much. That's one reason that we point that out.
There's Miller. Miller on the shortstop side of the bag, making that play.
Well, the shift against Encarnacion, and you know, he's a member of the Cleveland Indians now, but certainly the Rays know him very well. Jose Ramirez, how about the job that this guy's done? Kind of came out of nowhere. We saw him a couple of seasons ago in September and said, hey, this kid's got some tools, and they really didn't know what they were going to do with him.
And I think he's one of those guys who, if the Indians were just frank about it, surprised them beyond their expectations. He just wouldn't go away. He just continued to play great baseball. He played almost anywhere you wanted to play him and do a good job. And he came up with timely hits. He's been a really great story. And I think on the national scene, he's a guy who you could overlook because he plays in Cleveland. I mean, this would be, if he played on the East or West Coast, he'd be one of the great stories in baseball right now for what he's done.
He came into this ball game leading the Indians in on base percentage, 3rd in batting average, gets big hits, like you said, timely hitting, drives in runs, actually leading the team in runs batted in.
That's what I mean. You don't hear about him because he's playing in Cleveland. If he were in New York or Los Angeles and has come out of nowhere, wasn't in the starting lineup opening day last year, now had a great year for him, leads the team in RBIs right now, that'd be national headlines. Full count. Pitch is down and in. He draws the walk. Well, there's Lonnie Chisenhall. He hit the home run. Boy, that was a big blast. Archer in a spot there in the first inning where he had struggled. See there, tying a career high 5 walks, and through all the struggles of Archer's control and command and his support behind him, he was on the verge of getting out, but fell behind Chisenhall, and then this.
That pitch meant to be down and away, and it ended up down and in. That was a very similar pitch and miss. Remember when Kendrys Morales got him late in that game against the Blue Jays? And it was the same kind of thing. Derek Norris is set up on the outside corner. That pitch is yanked all the way across the plate, down and in, and to a left-handed hitter, that becomes a meatball.
A ball, 2 strikes. tap foul, so he stays alive with a 1-2 count. Both teams have scored in every at bat they've had tonight. Cleveland 5 in the first, 1 run in the second. The Rays single runs in each of the first 3. Now Ramirez at first with 1 out in the bottom of the third. Reach for that one. Chisenhall out on strikes. 2 gone. And strikeout number 3 on the evening for Archer.
Well, he keeps that slider down and away from Chisenhall. That's one of those pitches too where these guys know they're going to get it. We had the graphic up earlier, runners in scoring position. It's the same with 2 strikes. He's going to come with that pitch well over 60% of the time. These guys know it, and oftentimes they can't do anything about it.
Yan Gomes. The pitch to him is low. Gomes ended the first with a ground ball to short. Is down 2-0. Ramirez off first. There's a shot deep into left center field. And that one will be high off the wall. Kiermaier plays the carom. The run is going to score. And Gomes drives in a run with a double off the wall. His 6th double, his 6th run batted in. And now it's 7-3.
Boy, and these pitchers, these starting pitchers here tonight, in this case Chris Archer, just cannot settle in. And when he falls behind, you end up hanging a slider there to Gomes. That ball was just middle of the plate, didn't have any depth to it. Gomes did a great job of waiting on it and just about got it out. Deep left center field, high off that wall. And obviously with 2 outs, Ramirez is running on contact. He scores easily, and the Indians extend the lead. They try to claw back, they keep extending.
So a 2-out double. And the Indians put up a run. 4-run game. Monte, who tripled to lead off the second and scored. Fouled that pitch. Now it's 0-2. Making his 9th start of the year, coming in 3-1. And the Indians have put up 7 runs off him. Remains 2 strikes. That's strike 3. Now Monte out on strikes. We're going to go to the 4th. Tim Beckham will lead it off with the Rays continuing to play catch up. Break brought to you by T-Mobile. American League Player of the Week, Mookie Betts, with that .375 average, and that we're going to see that a lot. Alex Wood over in the National League with a couple of wins for the Dodgers, not giving up a run in 11 innings. He's added a dimension to that stat. The Dodgers 2 under 500 in the National League West. Take that back, running second in the National League West. There's Tim Beckham leading off the 4th. The pitch is down, 1 ball, no strikes. Kiermaier next, and then Norris. One and one.
Going with a little bit more off speed here. You know, Carrasco in the first inning, the fastball command was a little bit sketchy. Then the Rays were able to jump on a couple of fastballs, do some damage. Think about the home run by Kiermaier. You know, Evan Longoria with a base hit to right field. Brad Miller hit a fastball hard. So now you're starting to see more off speed.
And Beckham out on strikes.
That's the one thing that Carrasco is able to do, is make those adjustments, and the Rays have been able to ding him for a run in each of his first 3 innings. So he comes out here and just switches up the sequences. Curveball, 3 sliders, first out of the inning.
There's 5 strikeouts on the night. Kiermaier, who homered in the second, takes the pitch wide. Now there's the breakout of Carrasco's pitches so far this year.
I mean, how about that? The fastball he's going to use half the time, and then the changeup, the curveball, the slider, and they're all in the same ballpark, same general percentage. Not much separating him, and that's what we talk about when, you know, he mixes well. He does not become predictable, and that right there, that breakout proves it.
And on top of that, he normally has great command of all those pitches.
He's almost a strikeout an inning guy. a high, inning guy, almost averages 7 innings per start. 14 pitches an inning. 14 pitches an inning.
His career is just a little over 15, and he's improved upon that this year.
That's hard to do when you're getting about a strikeout an inning.
Kiermaier walks on 4 pitches. So the Rays got a base runner with 1 out. Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, will head to the hill, and the Indians will have a little meeting on the mound with 1 on 1 out in the 4th. So far in this game, every time the team gets to hit, they score a run, and Indians trying to change that around here in the top of the 4th. The Rays in 7-Eleven bringing a $7.11 ticket to Rays fans. So visit a local participating 7-Eleven store. Pick up the Rays discount coupon for a game this Friday against the Yankees. Keep saving with $5 Budweiser and Bud Light drafts exclusively on the Budweiser porch. Ages 21 and over. Please drink responsibly. Rays up. Well, here's Derek Norris. Well, the one thing the Indians have kept doing is somehow putting up a run in each of the last 2 innings as the Rays try to answer back. They're trying to climb back into this, and the Indians just continue to keep their distance. Want to know the count now. We'll see what Derek Norris can do against Carrasco.
Neither pitcher's been able to stop the bleeding. Carlos Carrasco has not been sharp. Chris Archer, already tied a career high in walks, has not been sharp. And then when they are over the plate, the hitters are taking advantage. So this is a struggle to try to slow these offenses down. All the while, the guys with the bats in their hand have a lot of confidence right now.
Well, you hear that a lot, confidence. It's real. I mean, you get into a situation where teams are scoring runs, hitters just walk up there not only believing but expecting to be a part of the offense.
That's the word, expecting. Hoping doesn't get you anywhere. Expecting will.
Yeah. Now 3-1.
It is something else to watch these two guys, so accomplished, struggle so mightily in the same game. I mean, it's painful. If you're the pitching coaches, Jim Hickey, Mickey Callaway, don't see this very often.
And another walk.
Yeah, and that ball, Fox Tracks has it just off up and away. That ball wasn't close. That wasn't even a competitive pitch. And we've seen a number of those from both of these guys.
Back-to-back bases on balls. First and second, 1 out in the 4th, and suddenly here's Corey Dickerson. Here's a guy capable of hitting one out of the park, and if he does, it's a 1-run game. You've gone through all of this, and one swing of his bat could make it a 1-run game. Then all bets are off. Corey Dickerson, strikeout and a ground out. This one in the dirt and stopped by Gomes. It's been a struggle for Carrasco as it has for Archer, and the Indians have action up in their bullpen. Goody, the right-hander, up and throwing. It's Nick Goody. Popper back of third. Ramirez starts after it. That will be out of play. 5 or 6 rows. And then the big bounce.
fighting for the rebound. Able to come down with it.
All about positioning. Count is 1-1. Carrasco comes into this game 4-2, and all 4 of his wins have been on the road. 0-2 here, but with a .249 earned run average, the Indians' offense had been struggling until yesterday. 1-2. Dickerson fouls it away.
He got a good pitch right there. 93 miles an hour, but it was middle in, and Corey Dickerson had a nice swing at it. Just fouled it off, unfortunately.
One-two. Chopper, that'll be a foul ball.
I still wonder sometimes how he gets to balls.
How he makes contact.
He had one the other day that he made contact with the baseball as it was skimming the dirt.
Yeah. It's reminiscent of a cricket match.
Yeah. I mean, that ball is a couple inches off the ground.
The Rays trying to mount a comeback. This is a key at bat. And Dickerson is out on strikes.
It's the off speed that's been bailing Carrasco out. And another really good offering right there. 88 miles an hour got Dickerson out in front.
That went down and away to him. So a couple of strikeouts here in the 4th to go with 2 walks. And here's Brad Miller. Miller has walked and singled and scored 2 runs. He takes the ball. Derek Norris at first. Kiermaier at second base. The Rays could use a blast here to narrow the gap. Kiermaier hit one out in the 2nd inning. It's foul the other way. 1-1. Now, one thing Carrasco has done here in this inning is really slow his pace.
It's really remarkable. Both of these guys, used to success, used to being able to put hitters away in a timely manner, and have gotten in trouble here tonight, and both of them have thrown out the anchor.
It's down 2-1. Carrasco comes into this game pitching on an extended 5 days rest. He last worked on the 9th against the Blue Jays and had 7 shutout innings on just 3 hits, no walks, and struck out 7. Ground ball through the right side. There's a base hit. Charged by Almonte. They'll wave Kiermaier to the plate. He will score. Up to second, Norris. So the Rays score another run. They've scored in each of the first 4, and they now trail 7-4.
How about that? The Rays just will not go away. Carrasco opens the door with a couple of walks. Brad Miller, mislocation again. Right idea with the pitch, off speed, down and away. No, down middle to down and in. And Brad is able to pull that ball over to the right side into right field. Here comes the Rays' 4th run.
And the Indians are going to check Carrasco. We'll see what they decide out there. Trainer and Terry Francona out there. And plate umpire Gary Cederstrom joining the crew. It's Nick Goody who's been up in the bullpen. And so this would be something physical. See Francona trying to get an assuring response from Carrasco, and minus that he'd be out of the game. So let's see what the Indians decide to do here. He wants to make sure his right-hander is okay, and he's not satisfied that he is.
No.
So Carrasco will leave this game with a runner at first and second. Back in a moment. Chevy dealers. By Jeep. Get great deals at the Jeep Spring Clearance Event. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Both teams continue to score in every inning. Carlos Carrasco will leave the game. And Nick Goody, who had been up in the bullpen, will make his 12th appearance. Goody, primarily a fastball slider guy, comes in.
And you got to love the work that he's done. That opponent's average just 103. You are now dipping your toes into statistically the best bullpen in Major League Baseball. And Nick Goody, he's a guy that's a bridge guy to get it to the back end guys, and he's had a heck of a season so far.
Yeah, the bullpen has the best earned run average at 184.
During the pregame show, I completely made up a number.
Yes.
Well, I knew it was below 2. I dropped to 192.
Okay, it's even better.
It is. It is. I thought that was impressive, and I went with that, and here I was off by quite a bit.
Here's Evan Longoria swinging at the first pitch and fouling it back. Strike one. Well, it was important that you did not embellish it in your attempt to be truthful.
Yeah, but
just the kind of guy you are.
Yeah, but you know what though? It was one of those things where when it came out of my mouth, I'm like, why am I making numbers up? Like I went with 192 and I sold it. Like I think people at home were convinced it was 192.
Yep.
And it wasn't. So I apologize.
Swing and a miss on the fastball, and it's 0-2. Takes a big man to do that. Really proud of you. Respect you immensely.
Takes a big man to admit when he's wrong, Dwayne. I am not a big man.
There's a line drive into left on the 0-2 pitch. Going to go back to the wall. Norris will score. Miller's going to go to third on the double by Longoria. And the Rays stay in this game. They come back with a couple here in the fourth to make it a 2-run ball game. This one on the second hit of the night for Evan Longoria.
Boy, the fastballs to get ahead, and then that slider, that was not that bad a pitch. You want it probably a little further away, but it was below the knees on the outer third, and Evan is able to get out around it, airborne, and down into the corner. Great job by Evan Longoria on that swing and being able to get that ball deep out into left field, and the Rays just will not go away, and you can feel the confidence building. And now that they're in this pen, it's a very good pen. Boy, they're swinging the bats well.
Well, on that double setting up second and third, they've decided to wave Logan Morris into first on the intentional walk. So the bases are loaded for Steven Souza Jr. to face Goody. Ground ball headed towards short. Lindor with a toss to Kipnis. Rays leave the bases loaded, but they pick up 2, and now they trail by only 2.
For our Coors Banquet timeless moment, and that was Dwayne the Squirrel. The Squirrel here at Progressive Field, all over the place. A 4-minute, 28-second delay. Squirrel ended up in the stands. Look out, because
he came out of right field.
There it is.
And then actually, before he was finished, had cut across the infield and ran around the home plate area, which leads you to believe he was only trying to go home. And then off the field and back up into the stands, and he's probably got a little luxurious house right back in there somewhere.
Yeah. Storing up some nuts.
Jason Kipnis fouling the pitch back. It's 1-1. Well, you can never prepare for winter too soon. He's doing his due diligence.
Yep.
It's a prepared squirrel.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Evasive little suckers.
Ball, 2 strikes. Had to bring back some memories for you.
It did. It brought back. It did, Dwayne. There's no question about it. You got photographic proof too.
Well, a ground ball to the right side here, just in the nick of time, and Miller makes that play. Kipnis out of there.
Is it possible to just calm things down here and have a normal inning? Don't you get the feeling that the Rays are going to come back and
you do
get a chance you're going to win this game?
You know, we started to talk about that an inning ago, and then Lo and behold, the Indians score a run, and they think, well, you're going to have to put a 0 up there sooner or later. So they score, but then here come the Rays back with 2 runs in the 4th to make it a 2-run game. So it's very much a game right now.
And the reason that those 2 runs by the Rays are huge. Obviously, it gets you to within 2 runs, but you needed to score those runs early. You know, this Cleveland team, when you get deeper into the bullpen, which is what they're aiming to do, they're undefeated if they have the lead after 6 innings. They're 12-0. There's 15-0 if they have the lead after 7. And so you've got to keep them here, make a play. Colby Rasmus, he does, and continue to. You got a couple more innings to try to get some runs across the board before it gets real tough.
So 2 gone. Lindor goes out to Rasmussen left. Michael Brantley. Archer has walked 5 in this game. 3 of the Rays runs result of walks, and 3 of the Cleveland runs resulting from bases on balls. Mr. Brantley is down. Very seldom do you get a situation where you're starting your 3rd time through the order and you're 2 deep, now 3 in the 4th inning, and your team is only down by 2. Two and 0 the count.
Well, we talked at length about how excited we were about the pitching matchups all through this series, and you've got the 2 big overpowering right-handers going in game 1, and you're thinking, okay, 3-2, 2-1, 4-2. Well, 7-5 in the 4th. Carrasco's out with an apparent injury. He was never able to get on track. Same thing with Archer. Finally having a nice inning here, able to get back on the count at 2-1. Still pretty good.
Yeah, there's a matchup tomorrow night. Jago Rizzi against Andy Salazar. We'll be with you at 5:30. Cobb and Tomlin here on the day game to wrap up the series. It's a strike 2-2. Brantley, 30 years old today. Michael Brantley. Chop to the right side. Morrison's got it, and hey, it's a 1-2-3 inning. And for the first time in any half inning, one of the teams does not score. 7-5 Cleveland. Pitching matchup, Carlos Carrasco starting for Cleveland. He's gone after 3 2/3, and Chris Archer still in the game for the Rays. And Daniel Robertson, yes, both teams have a Daniel Robertson. And the Cleveland Indians' Daniel Robertson is now in the game playing right field, replacing Almonte out there. Colby Rasmus leads it off. And just to make sure, there's the Rays' Daniel Robertson. Rasmus fouls the first pitch back, strike one.
And didn't they grow up like 20 miles away from each other?
California, just 20 or 25 miles apart. Two. Left-hander Boone Logan up in the bullpen. He's upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Well, for the Rays, who we've seen certainly capable of hitting a home run. Kiermaier hit one in the second, the 50th home run of the year for the Rays. Need a base runner and somebody to pop one to get even. A little roller right side. It's Lindor over there making the catch, or the play, the pickup and the toss. So Rasmus is out of there, out of the shift.
Yeah, out of the shift, Lindor has to come a long way, and a good feel for that play. He realized probably not going to be able to pull up and throw it, so I'll just shovel it, but put something on it. And he does that just in time over to Santana to get Rasmus. And we talked about his feel on the base pass, reading the ball in the dirt, the little intangibles that Francisco Lindor brings to this game. All adds up to a special player.
And the pitch is upstairs to Tim Beckham. He is a special player indeed. You know, that's one of the challenges I think baseball has. The Indians make only 1 appearance in Tampa Bay this year at Tropicana Field. They have 1 series. It starts the 10th of August. And so you only get 1 chance to see a player like Francisco Lindor. And I think the same thing's the case with Mike Trout with the Angels.
Yep.
These are premier players, and to get a chance to see them play and maybe bring some of your young players to see an accomplished big leaguer, a lot of talent in what they do, you only get 1 chance, 1 series a year if they're out of a particular team's division. And I think that's something baseball could, I don't know exactly how they could address that. Fly ball center field, right back down the middle, and Chisenhall is there to get Beckham for the 2nd out. But it'd be nice if they could do that. I think it'd certainly help on a national basis. You know, we talked about Ramirez having a good year last year and a good year this year, and very few people know about it. And if you don't go someplace outside your division, and in this case being in the Central, the Indians aren't going to the East or the West Coast but once a year to those teams, and so they miss out, I think, on that exposure.
That's the one thing I would like to see them change, Dwayne, is exactly what you're talking about, because of those reasons. You know, baseball is a regional sport. It's a regional, you know, you think about football and basketball, but they're not playing every day. So there's a build up and you get to know all these teams. You don't have time. If you're in the Tampa St. Pete market, you know, you're down, you don't have time to get to know these other teams that you don't see a lot of, because your team's playing every single night.
Yeah.
So you're focused on that. It becomes very regional, and the more visits that you can get from some of these superstar players, you can start to build a national following. People get to know a Ramirez, a Lindor, instead of, you know, they come into the Trop in August for 3 games and you forget they're even out there.
Yeah, and I still think there are a lot of people, as great as Trout is for the Angels, there are a lot of people who aren't as familiar with them as they would be other players. And his profile could be a lot bigger than it is if more fans and more baseball markets got to see him. 2-1 the count on Kiermaier. 2-2. Outside of first, down in front of Rocco Baldelli and beyond. First two men have been retired. The last time that happened to the Rays, Kiermaier hit a home run. He's up here again with the bases empty and 2 outs. Goody in relief of Carrasco. Ground ball that will be stopped by Kipnis, but no chance to get Kiermaier. Kipnis made a play earlier like that and retired the hitter, but not with Kiermaier going down the line. So he's on for the 3rd time. Home run, walk, and a single now.
Pulled it over just enough, and Kipnis has to go too far for it. There's no chance the way that Kiermaier gets out of the box. And now you get that speed aboard. How about the effort, though? Got to love the effort. Just eats it. But the speed aboard right now with Kiermaier, you look maybe to try to take advantage of Nick Goody. Do you try to steal a base here, get in scoring position, continue to put pressure on the Indians' defense?
Derek Norris, a move to first. How about the Indians and the opposing running game this year?
Oh,
they've done a great job.
Yeah, they have. They've got more caught stealings than stolen bases against.
Yep.
Opposing base stealers 12 out of 25.
Down the left field line, but it's going to be a foul ball and out of play. Norris with a 1-strike count on that foul ball. It's going to be a strike on the outside corner. Goody made a very nice pitch right there.
One of the better fastballs that we have seen here tonight. A lot of those pitches have been out of the zone wildly or out over the plate. Not many have found the corner. Boy, that one sure did. This pitch in the dirt. Oh, you know what? That's another one. I love that because we didn't see the sign. And so what Yan Gomes is doing right there, and you've got Kevin Kiermaier down at first base, he now puts his glove on the dirt. Like, okay, I want this slider. I want you to bounce this slider in an 0-2 count. And yet, it's a fastball that's up in the zone. That's great because
a little trickery.
A little trickery. And you see it a lot. See a guy, you take his catcher's glove and kind of make some noise over near the hitter to make it think like you're coming in.
This line drive, that ball is going to be fair. Will one hop the wall. Kiermaier will go to third on the 2-base hit by Derek Norris. And just like that, the Rays have 2 men in scoring position, down by 2.
Yeah, the Rays are winning this game. They just will not go away, and they're going to find a way to win this game. You just get that feeling. It didn't look good early on. Terry Francona, he's not taking any chances. He's going back out to the pen. But Derek Norris, another pitch out over the plate. You know what you're going to get from Goody. He sweeps it out to left field.
So Goody departs. When we come back, Corey Dickerson will be the hitter. We take you back to Game 7 of the 2016 World Series. Rajah Davis homering off Aroldis Chapman in the bottom of the 8th to tie the game. But after the rain delay, Vin Zobrist doubled. That chased in the go-ahead run in the 10th as the Cubs broke the curse, winning their first World Series since 1908. We're in the 5th inning of this one. And the left-hander will come in, Boone Logan, to face Corey Dickerson.
And while it's, you know, the move that Terry Francona feels good about making left on left, we've highlighted all season long, Corey Dickerson has done great work against left-handed pitching.
And he lifts a fly ball into left. Brantley's going to be there, however, and makes the catch to retire the side. Rays lead 2 and trail 7-5. Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon weekdays from 9:30 a.m. to noon Eastern, only on FS1. 7-5 ball game. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Rays need another shutdown inning. Archer had a 1-2-3 4th, and he'll face the middle part of the order in the 5th. Santana, Encarnacion, and Ramirez. First pitch from Archer is a strike at the knees. Santana drove in a run with a base hit in the 1st inning. Retired on the ground ball to short right field in the 2nd. Pitch down. Rays had men at 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs, and it only took Boone Logan 1 pitch to get the fly ball to left from Dickerson, and Brantley caught that. As soft as it was, he hit it too good out there. Just needed just a little bloop in front of the left fielder Brantley to keep the inning going.
Too strong. It was right off the end of the bat. You're right, but hung up there long enough. But the Rays just, again, they still won't go away. They have 4 more cracks at it, but it's up to Chris Archer, who had a first 1-2-3 inning of the game, the last half, to continue to do some work. Sometimes you got to win ugly. These are some tough games to pitch in because you get knocked around early. 5 runs in the 1st inning, and all of a sudden you have really no chance to put together a good line, but you still have a chance to win the game. And that's where you've really got to dig deep and try to find a way to still compete. And that's what Chris is trying to do right now.
And 2-2. Well, you're after the artistic success of a performance, but at the end of the day, you're after a win, and so win however you can. 10-9 or 1-0. Right now, the Rays down 7-5. Liner into right, a base hit on 1 hop. Santana is aboard for the 2nd time. Indians have 2 more runs than they have hits.
Well, it's all the walks. We've had at least 5 walks from Chris Archer. That tied his career high, so that's given him the extra base runners that they've been able to plate. And the hits have been big. Big home run by Chisenhall, the triple by Almonte.
Well, here's Edwin Encarnacion. Drove in a run in the 1st. Overall 0 for 2, and he takes the pitch inside. Encarnacion, born in the Dominican Republic, went to high school in Puerto Rico. And signed in the offseason by the Indians, leaving the Toronto Blue Jays. Two 2-0. Jose Ramirez on deck. This one is down. Well, he's behind 3-0. Looking at his pitch count there, 88 pitches. You're in the 5th. Belies the score. 7 runs have scored in the span of those 88 pitches. Rays get some action in their bullpen. Some stirring out there. There's a strike. Base hit, that 3-0 count. Now 3-1. Moreno gets up. Diego Moreno starts to throw. Now the count will go full.
A couple of power fastballs to get back in it. A little bit tardy on that swing was Encarnacion. 95. Just a little bit late. That ball slicing off to the right side. See if Chris Archer tries to dial it up a little bit higher than that. Another power fastball or the slider.
And he comes back and strikes him out. It's a big out, the first out of the bottom of the 5th.
Now he did come with the slider and
got away.
Well, yeah, that's one of those. You'd rather have the slider be this bad. I mean, that ball just stays up at the top of the zone. The old backup slider that the hitter picks up the spin and he's going to swing where he thinks it's going to end up, and it's actually doesn't even get there. You end up swinging under a slider. It's not exactly how you draw it up, but you will take that result all day long.
Jose Ramirez, a couple of walks, 2 runs scored, and a ground ball to second. Miller to Beckham, 1, first base, and they do not get the double play, and you could argue that that's a ball in which they should turn to.
Well, you know, listen, Ramirez gets out of the box and he is hustling, but the Rays middle infielders, and we've already seen it here, you know, tonight, a good feed there by Miller. I don't know what more you really could have done there. I think that's just a case of Ramirez. That's a tough angle to have to throw from. That's the problem. Ball was hit sharply enough that Brad Miller, you know, you've got to field it, then open up your hips. All of that takes time. And Ramirez, coming from the left side, is able to get there.
Lonnie Chisenhall. Pitch is down. Chisenhall hit the 3-run home run that capped the 5-run first. One and one. Here's the home run. First, the runner back in.
Teams tend to play more aggressive with the lead, and you just wonder, as Chris Archer was just wondering, if this is the time that you send Ramirez. Try to pick up 90 more feet.
Starts to go and stops. The pitch is a ball. There's 2 of 5 in the running game.
Doesn't exactly instill a lot of confidence in the manager to make that call. 40% success rate, but he has tried 5 times. Most attempts on the team.
Well, that's wide. And we go to 3 balls and a strike. Ball 4 continues the inning and pushes Ramirez up to second. 6 walks issued by Archer. Yan Gomes, who doubled in a run off him in the 3rd, is the hitter. He's 1 for 2. And 3 for 7 in his career against Archer, with a home run and the RBI double in this game. That's a strike.
Well, like earlier in this this game, you get an over-anxious hitter at the plate, and you take advantage of that. That first pitch, that slider, really not even competitive, down into the dirt, and Yan Gomes cannot help himself. And that gives you a lot of information as a pitcher of the mindset of the guy at the plate. And if he doesn't retool and recalibrate, you've got a chance to pitch around the zone and get him out, get out of this inning.
1-1.
When you're out there on the mound, the pitches that you're throwing is giving the hitter information. The way that he's taking pitches or swinging at pitches and giving the pitcher information. And you're trying to take it all in and make a determination on what you want to do next. And you do it all pretty quickly.
Well, he's reached the 100 mark, 100+ pitches in 18 consecutive starts. And a cut and a miss. He strikes him out. 98 on the fastball to strike out Gomes. We'll head into the 6th. The Rays will have Miller, Longoria, and Morrison. Due up. Down by 2. Still competitive in this game after a tough start. Cleveland scored 5 in the first to make it 5-1. The Rays down 7-5, and a big cut and a foul ball back by Brad Miller beginning the 6th inning. Evan Longoria on deck. Boone Logan came into this game, made 1 pitch in the 5th, then got Dickerson for the 3rd out to leave a couple of men on base. Ahead of Miller, 0-2.
Boone Logan still featuring a very lively fastball in the mid-90s. Saw the breaking ball to Corey Dickerson to get the soft fly to left.
And he strikes out Miller with the fastball. It's the 1st out in the 6th. 7th strikeout for Cleveland pitching tonight.
Elevated close to him. It's the 1st out of the inning, and Terry Francona is going to make another move.
The right-handed bat of Evan Longoria due up. Pitching change coming. matchup. First inning, a 5-run frame for the Indians. Chisenhalt's 3-run home run topped the inning, but the Rays continue to battle back. Kevin Kiermaier hit his 3rd home run of the year in the 2nd. Indians scored a run in the 2nd. They got another one in the 3rd on this double by Yan Gomes. At that point, making it 7-3. The Rays continue to battle back. Scored a run in the 3rd, 2 runs in the 4th on the Longoria double, and they trail by 2, 7-5, as we play in the top of the 6th inning. 1 out, bases empty, and Brian Shaw comes on to face Longoria here in the 6th, and the pitch is a strike call. Evan 2 for 3 tonight with a single and that RBI double.
Shaw on for the 17th time, 17 innings of work, ERA 2.12.
So it's popped up. It's going to be the shortstop Lindor, back of the bag. He just crossed right over the imaginary line into Kipnis territory, caught it, and then jumped right back. And with that, let's go to Alex.
Dwayne, well, the numbers pretty much speak for themselves when you're talking about Logan Morrison. In his last 9 games, he has 4 home runs. Coming into tonight's game, he led the team with 24 RBI. But the Rays' first baseman is far from satisfied. That's because Morrison says he's got to do a better job at having more consistent success at the plate. But his strong efforts out of the gate this season have him producing like the player the Rays expected when signing him 2 off seasons ago. Guys.
Well, he's driven in that run with a double in the 1st, 25 runs batted in, and in double figures in home runs. So I think this is certainly what the Rays expected, maybe even more.
Yeah, well, no doubt in the power department, and there are ebbs and flows to the season, and hitters are going to get hot, they're going to slump for a little bit, go into little slides. But the thing I've liked about Logan Morrison is the way that he's taking pitches. You know, that tells you an awful lot. I mean, he's not antsy. He's not, diving at these pitches, not recognizing them. He takes them, very calm. A guy that is recognizing a lot of pitches, and then when he gets one to hit, he's not missing too often. 97 right there will get you.
Out on strikes, and we go to the bottom of the 6th. 7-5 Cleveland. It's a 7-5 ball game. Archer out of the game after 101 pitches. 7 runs, 6 earned.
Well, an off night for Chris Archer, and it got started early. All these balls out of the zone, just had a hard time being able to command the fastball. Same thing with the slider, and right there, even trying to go down and away, you end up throwing a fastball down and in. Lonnie Chisenhall takes it out deep to right field, set a career high in walks tonight, and it was a struggle all the way through for Chris. And you know what? Every once in a while, you're going to have a start like that, and he doesn't look too broken up over it. He's had a lot of good ones here this season. In fact, his last 3 have been great, but tonight a little bit of a clunker, and you're hoping that your teammates can bail you out. Chase Whitley's going to come on for the 12th time to try to keep this Indians lead at 2. 15 2/3 innings, 10 strikeouts, that opponent average of just 100. It's been good for the Rays.
He'll be facing Daniel Robertson. Now in the 9th spot, he replaced Almonte in right field. And that's a strike on the first pitch. You could tell by Whitley's numbers coming into this game, he has been a plus for the Rays out of that bullpen. Rehabbing from Tommy John surgery. Look out by the mound, but right there's Miller, and he makes the pickup. Sharply hit by Robertson, and he is the first out.
Well, you have Brad Miller perfectly positioned up the middle. Get that first out. That's always big, especially in a game like this, the ebb and the flow. Been an unpredictable game. Came in fully expecting a pitcher's duel, as you see Brad Miller get out of the way, Chase Whitley. It has not turned out that way, and the Rays still hanging around.
Jason Kipnis with his 4th plate appearance of the night, a couple of walks and a ground out. 1 strike. It's a line drive into right field. All the way to the wall. Souza will make the pickup, and Kipnis is in with a stand-up double. He had a big day yesterday for Cleveland. On for the 3rd time in this game. That's his first hit of the game.
Well, struggling in this lineup, and all of a sudden Terry Francona puts him back up at the top of the order where he's had success before. Big night yesterday. Big day yesterday, and having a big night here tonight. Kipnis gets that ball down to the corner. The Indians threaten once again.
Here's Lindor, Francisco Lindor. A little nubber by the mound. Scoop by Miller. The throw to first out there. Kipnis advances to 3rd. A big out to get Lindor. And that gets the number 3 hitter, Michael Brantley, to the plate. Fly ball into left. Rasmus angling toward the corner to make the catch. A hit the man left here in the 6th. Cleveland does not score. We go to the 7th with Souza Jr. set to lead off. Rays are coming in to hit in the 7th inning. Book your group now for any game during the 2017 season. And with that, get an additional group outing to a future game on the Rays. Groups of 20 or more can choose from exclusive party areas to suites to general seating. So be a part of the action at Tropicana Field by emailing groupsales@raysbaseball.com. Raise up. Brian Shaw came on to get the last 2 outs of the 6th. Steven Souza Jr. shortens on the bat and takes the pitch for a strike. In the 7th, pitch is wide, 1-1. And as we mentioned earlier, the Indians bullpen has been a shutdown bullpen. Andrew Miller is up right now.
And this is kind of the formula that Terry Francona follows. You got Shaw typically for the 7th, Miller 8, Cody Allen 9. This team is undefeated when leading after 6 innings. And so the Rays have their work cut out for them, but they've also seen some signs of life here tonight offensively. Did a couple mistakes, a bloop and a blast, and here you are.
And that pitch is wide. Holmes picking it up off the plate and down.
Brian Shaw with a deceptive delivery, kind of throws across his body, kind of wraps the baseball. He can get up there with the velocity. We saw the Logan Morrison up to 97 and big curveball.
And the count is full. Carrasco 3 2/3, Goody an inning, Logan 2/3. Shaw got the final 2 in the 6th. Souza getting time from Gary Cederstrom.
And it was late too, because Brian Shaw was really starting his delivery towards home plate. He was none too thrilled having to stop that.
And that's why Shaw just walked off the mound, reset everything. A foul back on the fastball. That went in the mid-90s. Rays led briefly in the first 1-0, but the Indians grabbed a 5-1 lead in the bottom of the inning. They've led throughout. It's 7-5 right now. And there's ball 4. Souza Jr. draws the walk on a pitch that missed wide. And so the Rays pick up another base on balls.
Yeah, really nice job by Souza Jr. to not expand his zone. Brian Shaw jumped out ahead in the count, threw some pitches right along the periphery, and Souza Jr. stayed true to the strike zone and was able to earn a walk there. Now you got your base runner.
Well, here's Colby Rasmus. And the pitch is a strike. Miller had been up in the bullpen. The left-handed bat of Rasmus up here. They've decided to stay with Shaw in the 7th. Upstairs, it's 1-1. Two and 1. Fastball missing.
Boy, nothing has been easy tonight for any of these pitchers. Brian Shaw falling behind Rasmus here. Now he's going to have to come back in the zone. Rasmus does have power.
And he takes a strike right out there on the corner.
And quality. That's the difference. There have been a lot of balls here tonight. A lot of walks. A lot of strikes that are not quality. Good swings.
Two and two the count. Rasmus fouls it. All 5 runs charged to the starting pitcher. Carlos Carrasco giving up 5 and 3 2/3. And Rasmus out on strikes. Fastball got him.
He was able to get Rasmus to expand, and that's why he was able to pick up that strikeout. You know, it's tough to catch up to that fastball with that velocity if it's going to be out of the strike zone and it's away from you. You end up just kind of waving at it, and Brian Shaw picks up the first out of this inning.
There is Tim Beckham. Beckham 0 for 3 tonight. Pitch is wide. Beckham getting his first look at Shaw. Fouls it back. Had a pretty good cut right there on that pitch up.
Boy, did he take a big swing. And Tim Beckham, as hard as he hits the baseball, he right there was trying to tie this game up. This swing was so violent. Look at, he comes loses his balance, starts to fall across the plate. Well, he got something that was a mistake out over, and those are the ones that you want to try to jump on.
It's fouled back. Pitch up. So he's down 1-2. Rays had men at second and third in the 5th. And Boone Logan got the final out on a fly ball to left by Dickerson. This is the first base runner since then. 1 on, 1 out in the 7th. And it's fouled away. Hard stuff again from this right-hander, Brian Shaw.
You could see the adjustment here for Tim Beckham. First couple of swings, big swings, trying to do damage. That swing right there on a similar pitch, he's shortening things up. Now going to try to put the ball in play. A lot of strikeouts this season for Tim Beckham, but a lot of hard hit balls too.
Now it's 2-2. And it's popped up right side. That'll be a foul ball and will reach the stands. Both Santana and Kipnis over there, but no chance. The count holds at 2-2 on the Rays shortstop Tim Beckham.
I'll tell you what, the Rays are making Brian Shaw work. Now, this was a guy that, you know, he pitched in the ball game yesterday afternoon, and now out there 24 pitches already here tonight. So that probably guarantees you're not going to see him tomorrow. And maybe you can get to him here tonight. Everything up in the zone to Tim Beckham. Obviously the game plan, climb the ladder, see how high he's willing to go.
And this one is outside. So he's run the count full. Beckham down in the count, has worked it to 3-2. Kiermaier on deck. There goes the runner. The pitch is tapped foul. Souza Jr. on the move there. One on, one out. Souza Jr. back to first. Rasmus has struck out. And Beckham with a 3-2 count. This will be the 9th pitch of the at bat. And he fouls it. So pitch after pitch, they're mounting up here for Shaw.
This has been a very good at bat here by Tim Beckham. Brian Shaw continues to attack with that fastball. It's got some cutting action to it up in the zone. And he's able to fight him off, foul him off, hope for something out over the middle, or take your base. Something has to happen eventually, right, Dwayne?
One would think. A move to first. Souza Jr. back in.
Eventually.
10 pitches into the at bat. Souza had already taken off once before. One out. Souza starts to go and stops. A step back and a turn over there by Shaw.
Boy, if he just makes a move to first, then he's going to get Steven Souza Jr. Took off too soon, but what saved Brian Shaw from a balk there was he stepped off. This wasn't just a straight move. He steps off, and now you become a fielder, and you can do that and not get called for the balk.
Three, 2 again.
You know what?
Time call.
Yeah, he was going to wait Souza Jr. out and see if he was going to try to, get a jump once again. And so Brian Shaw just holding that ball for a long time. A lot of times that's something that's called from the dugout. Catcher will relay to hold and then maybe step off or just hold.
And there is ball 4 inside. So Beckham draws the walk. A little divided attention and a good at bat by Beckham. And the Rays get 2 base runners. Kiermaier due, and Francona comes out of the dugout. Gulf Coast Honda dealers. By Jeep, get great deals at the Jeep Spring Clearance event. And by Pinch a Penny, the perfect people for a perfect pool. The big left-hander, Andrew Miller, enters the game. He is the 5th pitcher for Cleveland tonight.
And you can't say enough about the year that he's having. Has not given up a run yet in 15 games. 23 strikeouts and 17 and a third, just 4 walks. I mean, right down the line, he has been fantastic. Usually, I'll tell you something else too, Dwayne. You got Ricky Weeks Jr. here gonna pinch hit. Big fastball, big slider for Andrew Miller, and this season using the slider more than the fastball, so he will mix it up on you.
Pinch a Penny pinch hitter, Ricky Weeks Jr. And he takes the first one down. A couple of walks from Shaw, putting men at first and second. So Weeks hitting for Kiermaier.
Tell you what, Kevin Cash going for it here. You pull out Kevin Kiermaier, and obviously that's a tough matchup, but then you start to think about what he brings on the defensive side.
Yep.
So you're going to be short out in the outfield, but trying to capitalize later in this game with a couple of base runners aboard.
Yeah, Kiermaier had homered, walked, and singled tonight. Weeks takes a look at a pitch and checks in time.
I think that out of the hand, you're thinking that was going to be a cold strike. Fastball looked to be right there on the corner. Indians don't get the call. They don't get the check.
Weeks 1 of 3 in his career against Miller. Turn, nothing doing back there. Weeks will have the count go to 2-2 on that. Well, in this situation, with Miller in, you can see how tough he can be. Not many hitters with success against him, but Corey Dickerson is 2 for 3 against him. If you somehow could extend the inning up to him. Turn, and still nothing back there. Weeks is out on strikes. So a strikeout of the pinch hitter Ricky Weeks Jr. 10th strikeout for Cleveland pitching against the Rays lineup tonight. And the second out here in the 7th.
Boy, that slider is so nasty. It comes from so far away. Andrew Miller is tall. You know, he's got a lower 3/4 arm angle. Really sweeps that pitch. And he throws it with a great amount of effort too, and you've got to always be leery of that fastball and the velocity and the way it jumps on you, and you don't have a lot of time to react to the slider.
Eric Norris misses one right there, the slider. It's Corey Dickerson on deck. He's hoping to get him to the plate.
By the way, him swinging that bat right there with the bat weight on it with one hand, that's pretty impressive right there. You start to think about the bat speed that he has.
Check swing and a bouncer foul.
And you know, Andrew Miller has become the type of reliever. He will allow himself to be used in any situation. You saw how Francona used him last year in the playoffs, into the World Series. There was games he was in the 5th inning coming in there. But he uses really the fastball to set up the slider. It really, you think a lot of times these guys with the big fastball, that and the slider off of it, but it's really the slider, the fastball off of that.
0-2 pitch. And Norris is out on strikes on the slider. Both strikeouts of Weeks and Norris on that slider. The Rays leave 2 men aboard. Bottom of the 7th coming, 7-5 Cleveland. Cleveland. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame show is presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Jake Odorizzi, the Rays right-hander, will get the start. We'll hear from him. And Orestes will break down Jason Kipnis, whose bat has come to life in the last couple days. Peter Borges in the game in center field after Kiermaier was lifted for the pinch hitter. Carlos Santana will open the bottom of the 7th inning. Encarnacion will be next, and then Ramirez. And the shift is on for Santana. Whitley delivers, and that is a strike. Archer worked 5, gave up 7 runs, including a first inning home run to Chisenhall. One and one now. There's a strike, 1 and 2. Whitley back from Tommy John surgery. And it's down 2 and 2. Rays claimed him at the end of November in 2015, a waiver claim from the New York Yankees. Spent his time rehabbing from Tommy John surgery. He and Alex Cobb, the Rays right-hander, spent time rehabbing together. A swing and a miss. Whitley strikes out Santana.
Here comes the fastball right there by Chase Whitley down in the zone. He gets it right past Carlos Santana. A lot of off speed in that at bat, sets up the heater. And I'll tell you, he's become a trusted member of this bullpen, someone who you see Kevin Cash starting to lean on more and more because of his performance.
Encarnacion pops it up Morrison is after it. Will it stay fair? Right up against the railing. He reaches in and got it. Nice job right there by Logan Morrison reaching in.
He caught the,
that is out number 2.
He caught the ball and somebody's hat, D-Wayne. He got everything. Clean sweep.
And being the honest man that he is, he returned it immediately. Take a look at this.
Boy, he times this jump so well. And right there, makes the catch, has the hat. What is this? There you go. That's outstanding.
Yeah. I'll keep this. You can have that. 2 outs. So the base is empty for Jose Ramirez. And there's a first pitch strike. Ramirez walking in the first and the third and scoring each time. Officially 0 for 1. 1-1 the count. Strike. Fastball there, and it's 1-2. Skips that one in. 2-2. Foul the other way. 2 outs, bases empty, bottom of the 7th. We've had 18 strikeouts and 12 walks in the game.
Wow.
We're not finished.
No, it's still just the 7th.
It's fouled back a third into the seats, holding the count at 2-2.
It is funny that those numbers are that high, because for a game that's had a lot of action, it's 7-5 in the 7th, you know, a back and forth affair, and you know, the Rays scoring every inning for the first 4.
Now it's a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, all that to say, for all these runs being scored and all the action, there's been a lot of nothing too. And that seems to be par for the course for the Rays. You know, you see that stat where 40% of their at bats is a home run, a walk, or a strikeout.
Yep.
That's pretty incredible.
Fly ball back into right center field. That's got a charge in it and is off the wall. Extra bases for Ramirez, who pulls in at second with a double. Ramirez collecting his 7th double of the year off the right center field wall.
And I think everybody in the building here thought that that ball was going to get out of here. In fact, they even started the drums up in the left field bleachers. That ball well struck by Jose Ramirez, and it's that close. I mean, just below the yellow line, deep out there in right center field. I'm wondering how that didn't get out of here.
Well, that's an important run insofar as the Rays are concerned with this tough Cleveland bullpen. Rays trying to stay as close as they can. Down by 2 right now, and suddenly with 2 outs, another scoring opportunity for Cleveland. With Lonnie Chisenhall, who hit a home run, a 3-run shot in the first. They walked him, and it's Yan Gomes. So the Rays an intentional pass to face the right-handed bat of Gomes. One strike. Gomes doubled in the third to chase home a run. He is 1 for 3. Two on, 2 out. Gomes pops it up. Morrison out from first, looking for it, waiting. He's got it to retire the side. We'll head into the 8th with this game, a 2-run contest. Dickerson, Corey Dickerson will open it for the Rays, down 7-5. And a hair-raising start by the Astros, who started the day leading by 7.5 in the American League West over Texas. This game moves into the 8th with Corey Dickerson. Dickerson 0 for 4, reached after a strikeout on a wild pitch in the first. And it's a 2-0 count. Jumbo Diaz up in the bullpen for the Rays. Foul out of play, 2-1. One. Well, the Rays have been able to stay within 2. Brad Miller on the deck. Now it's a full count.
Corey Dickerson not happy. That pitch off the plate, that slider, and he chased it. He'll get another chance here. Full count.
Sometimes 3-1, tough for a hitter to be disciplined up in the count like that against a tough lefty at that. And he fouls this one off forcing another 3-2 pitch.
You know, this at bat right here by Corey Dickerson, and obviously it could still turn out poorly for the Rays, but you know, this goes to show you this is probably one of the toughest left-handed pitchers on left-handed hitter matchups you could have. And Corey Dickerson hanging right in there. He's been so good against lefties this year, facing one of the best here.
And he draws the walk. So the Rays get a base runner. Leadoff walk in the 8th. MLB.com at bat, your #1 mobile app for live Rays baseball. So stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Got Rays home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, and more. Download MLB.com at bat. Miller lays off the breaking pitch, 1-0.
It's a disease, Dwayne. Strike throwing is diseased tonight.
The pitch is down and in off the plate. Well, at the moment, what do we have? 16 hits, 18 strikeouts, and 14 walks in this game. Two and one the count on Miller. Rays closed the gap to 7-5. Had a couple men in scoring position with 2 outs in the 5th. Left them on. A foul ball. A couple of men on in the 7th with 1 out, and then Miller came on to chalk up the 2 strikeouts. He's opened the 8th with a walk to Dickerson, and 2-2 on Brad Miller. Miller fouls it, so he's still alive up there. Miller's been on base 3 times. And just a little piece of that one, a foul ball, and he barely stays alive.
I tell you, they are making Andrew Miller work here. These 2 lefties. Corey Dickerson had a long extended at bat, ended in a walk. Brad Miller putting up a fight here, just gets enough. Look at that sweeping breaking ball. Look at him lengthen that swing and able to get just a hair.
And a little tapper third base side, tough play. Ramirez in, no play anywhere, and the Rays have put the first 2 men on base here in the 8th. So out of all that, a productive at bat, producing an infield hit.
Well, how about that? These 2 lefties, you know, you figure Andrew Miller's in the catbird seat against Dickerson and Brad, but not so much. A walk and then an extended at bat. Once again, just put the ball in play, you never know. And he reaches out, taps that. No play for Ramirez.
And what that does is get the one guy in the Rays lineup who has some semblance of success against Miller. Evan Longoria is 3 for 13 against him lifetime. He hits it on the ground to third. Out at second. That's the only one they get. That throw to the first base side, forcing Kipnis to try to make sure they got it out and get the tag.
You know, Jose Ramirez got caught in between stepping on third and throwing to first, or going to second and trying to do a traditional double play. Watch him. This is taking him right towards third. Do I go there? No, I'm just going to turn and make this throw off balance, and it's wide. What a break for the Rays there. That should have been absolutely a double play one way or the other. Not made.
Well, the Rays found themselves on the short end of not turning a double play earlier tonight. And so they get a break here perhaps. But they do lose Longoria's bat there on the ground out. First and third with one gone. And here's Logan Morrison. Morrison takes a strike. Morrison 0 for 6 in his career against Miller. But he's been the big producer for the Rays in the RBI department. And he throws a fastball by him at 96. It's the old challenge right there, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, it's been a lot of sliders in this outing for Andrew Miller, but he is going right after Logan Morrison with the fastball, gets it up above the swing, and let's see if he sticks with it.
And he starts to go, but checks. He went back to the slider, and Morrison battling to stay back.
Yeah, really battling. Here it is, Dwayne. That, I'll tell you, you know how strong the wrists have to be? Because he really started that swing with the intention to go and was able to hold up far away from his body. That is not really easy to do.
Now the 1-2. And again, that ball out of the zone, 2-2.
Tell you, he's going to work himself right back into a fastball. Let's see if he can catch one clean.
Two balls, two strikes. Fly ball into right center field, hanging up there. Chisenhall on the run to make the catch. The tag at third. Dickerson will score. That makes it a one-run game, 7-6. Morrison battling the left-hander Miller to get at least a run home. And now the gap is one.
The first run that has been given up by Andrew Miller all season long. He did work himself back into a count where he got the fastball, and he got it out there deep enough. The Rays closed to within one, and they just continue to claw back in this game. You got to love the spunk of this team. Could have really folded it up against Carrasco, giving up 5 in the first inning. But here they are now, down just a run.
Now Steven Souza Jr. The pitch to him is a strike. Well, you got to give it to Morrison. That was quite a battle, quite an at-bat against the tough left-hander.
Think about the Rays left-handed hitters in this inning, Dwayne.
Yep.
Dickerson, Miller, and Morrison. They've put up the best at-bats against Andrew Miller. Unbelievable.
2 strikes to Souza Jr. It's Allen in the bullpen. He's been perfect. Souza, did he go? Yes, he did. So Souza Jr. tried to check. He's out on strikes. Rays get a run. They trail 7-6. Ball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Steven Souza Jr. tried to check his swing. He had gone around and confirmed by Gabe Morales down at first base, the first base umpire. And I think Souza was fined on that. He had flipped his bat in frustration, and that was the point he was trying to make, I think, to Gary Cederstrom. But it certainly appeared that Morales had made the indication that not only did he, yes, go around, and then the toss of the bat. And I think there's where Souza took exception to Morales pointing toward the hitter, indicating the tossing of the bat, and a fine would go with that, we are assuming.
He may have gotten fined too for, you know, just kind of waving him off. That's what he said to Gary Cedars. Like, oh, I'm not allowed to be frustrated.
Yeah, and that, I think, was the result of the bat, and then came the arm, the pointing by Morales. So here we go out of the bottom of the 8th, and Jumbo Diaz is in the game. Daniel Robertson, the Cleveland version, leads off by bouncing a ball to third, and he's thrown out. 1 pitch, 1 out. We'll go back around to the top of the order. Jason Kipnis has been on 2 bases on balls and a double. Retired in the 4th on a ground ball to second. 5 innings for Archer, 7 runs, 5 hits, 6 walks given up by Archer tonight. Whitley 2 innings scoreless, a 2-hit baseball. Now Diaz. Pitch is down.
And it hasn't always been pretty, but the Rays have kept the Indians off the board since the 3rd inning, and they've been able to slowly claw themselves back to within 1, which is all you really could hope for the way the game started out. I mean, Indians 5 runs in the 1st inning. You thought it's going to be a long night for the Rays, and here they are, right back in it. 1 inning to go. It's going to be tough against Cody Allen, but keep it here at 1. We'll see.
The Rays will have a power threat in Colby Rasmus to lead off the night. There's a shot right back at Diaz, and he'll make the play at first. Kipnis is the 2nd out. Pretty good reflexes there by Diaz.
Yeah, good thing, or that's right up near the face.
Two gone now, and here is Francisco Lindor. Slider in there, taken for a first pitch strike. There's Allen in the bullpen. Indians have utilized 5 pitchers tonight. Allen will be number 6. And a long one to right. That's going to make it a 2-run game. 9th home run of the year for Lindor. So all that fighting and battling to get to within a run goes away on 1 swing of Francisco Lindor's bat.
Now the emerging power, Francisco Lindor, and he gets one right here. How about that? That slider down and in, and Jumbo Diaz didn't even need to watch it. He knew. He dropped the barrel, get some lift. Everybody in the building knew that thing was out of here, and you're right. That made it so much more difficult here against Allen now in the 9th.
Brantley lining one up the left field line. headed toward the corner. So Brantley follows up the home run with a double.
You know, I don't know if maybe this is just a stage that or a phase that Jumbo Diaz is going through right now, but the life on the pitches, it's not the same as we saw at the beginning of the season. You know, the life on the fastball, you know, he was a guy that was getting mid to upper 90s with a sharp biting slider. And right now, the slider not consistently sharp. The fastball doesn't have, you know, the consistent giddy up and life and late movement.
And the word from the dugout. Santana will get the intentional walk. So now men at first and second with Edwin Encarnacion coming up in an 8-6 ball game. Two on, two out, a run home. Pitch is wide. Ground ball, and right there is Miller. He'll race to the bag to beat Santana, and one run on the home run. We'll go to the ninth with the Rays sending Colby Rasmus to lead it off. Beckham and Borges to follow. They're going to need two to keep it going. They're down 8-6 going into the ninth inning. The home run by Lindor extending the Cleveland lead by a run, and the Rays will be facing Cody Allen.
Matthew McConaughey in the house filming a movie here, D-Wayne.
All right.
Like the hat. There you go.
Well, Colby Rasmus will face Cody Allen, the 16th appearance for Allen. And Rasmus 0 for 4 tonight. And he swings and misses, strike one.
Andrew Miller, fastball slider. Cody Allen, fastball curveball. both power pitches, and he really gets after hitters.
See, the one hit Rasmus has against him was a home run. Now he's down 0-2. That's why that home run by Lindor really changes the perspective that you have going into the 9th inning.
It sucks the air out of your dugout. You're right. You're one run down after all that work. We just talked about how they had held the Indians off the scoreboard from the 3rd inning on, and then with 2 outs, no less. So, boy, it's tough now.
And Rasmus is out on strikes. Cody Allen picks up a strikeout to start the 9th. Tampa Bay Rays baseball presented by Jeep. Tim Beckham, who had a battling at bat in the 7th inning and eventually drew a walk. It was against Brian Shaw. After Carrasco, Goody, and Logan, it's been Shaw, Miller, and now Allen. And that's a strike.
How about it? You know, you think about Andrew Miller and all the sliders that he threw. Cody Allen with the big fastball. It's been 4 straight curveballs, and they've all been good. Very good. And just about the time you start thinking about the curveball too much, oop, here he's going to pop the fastball by you.
One and one. Beckham getting his first look tonight at Cody Allen. Two balls and a strike. Peter Borges is on deck. There's the fastball. 2-2.
Here comes the curveball. And if you're Tim Beckham, you're probably going to see one here and on 3-2.
And a swing and a miss on the curveball in the dirt. Down to first, Gomes to Santana. So 2 strikeouts. 2 up, 2 down.
Well, he did come back with a curveball. This one, he stops it short, but Tim Beckham cannot hold up, and now the Indians 1 out away.
Two gone. Peter Borges will be up here. He came on after the Rays lifted Kiermaier for the pinch hitter Weeks, who struck out. 1 ball, no strikes. $14 strikeouts for Cleveland pitching tonight. Popped up right side, foul. Will it be playable? The answer is no. Not even in the stands, at least cleanly. But he got the souvenir. And the count 1-1. Rays came in 2 games under 500. Down to their final out, trailing by 2 here in Cleveland. Upstairs to Borges. 2-1. Borges trying to keep it alive and give Norris a shot. And a high fly ball back into left. Brantley's going to go to the wall for it. Looking up, and it's gone. Peter Borges has hit a home run to keep the Rays' hopes alive. It's an 8-7 ball game. And that's been the story of the night. The Rays have not gone away so far. They have fallen just short. But this one takes them one step closer.
Well, and that's why the home run from Lindor is so huge. Because that, you think about without that, obviously, you're one swing away. Here it is. And how in the world he got up to that pitch, how short and quick he was to the baseball, got it airborne, got it very, very high, and dropped it on the other side of the big wall out in left field. And now you are just one swing away. How about it?
8-7. Eric Norris will be the hitter, and that home run puts Jim Hickey on the phone.
Yes.
Out to the bullpen. Hello, fellas.
We're still here. Unlikely source, too. I don't think anybody was thinking about Peter Borges going yard.
Curveball, a swing and a miss by Norris.
I think you're going to see a lot of those here in this at-bat. After being victimized by the fastball, Cody Allen going to go right back to the wrinkle.
And he picks up a called strike there with it. 0-2.
Here it comes again and again and again. Derek Norris just try to put that thing in play, find an opening somewhere. Corey Dickerson to the plate.
Yeah, you'd love to get him to the plate. He takes it wide. 1-2.
Well, he's no fool. He knows what's coming.
One-two pitch. It's popped up. Foul ball right side. Santana after it and reaches in, making the catch to end this game. Well, the Rays fall to run short, and that has been the story of the night. It's an 8-7 final. Cleveland taking the first game of this series, and here's the final out.
Now he has to lean into the camera well, follows it all the way into that glove, and that puts an end to the Rays' comeback efforts.
Rays out hit the Indians by 2. They dropped this game by 1. 8-7 the final. For Brian Anderson and Alex Cordry, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast. If not, the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame, presented by WB Mason, is next.